I love the beginning. I love the beginning. Let me just show you the beginning. So it's Louis in the Southwest UK defending Elvis Presley with Team Elvis. Let me just play that very first few seconds for you. Oh, something about that. I don't know if it just this is obviously a black and white version of it, of the rehearsals, but I don't know. I mean, Don't is one of my favorite songs, but that I don't know, the video footage that comes with that, obviously there's the orchestra behind him as well. It just ooh. Now, I know that YouTube will delete that, will not let me play that, but they do let me play it on the lives. And then what they do when the video is published, or should I? Yeah. So when it comes out tomorrow, no, it will come out today. But when YouTube officially allow me to have it, they remove the song. But it doesn't matter because we can enjoy it together. Now, I want to warn you guys. The kids may come down. I might have to quickly make them a cereal, you know, or Weetabix, whatever. I can hear footsteps, but it's okay because they will go quiet. Here, right, is that Tino? Hi, Tino. Tino. Right, do you want me to give you your thingy? You just woke up, have you? Right, now remember, Tina and Elvis are watching. Da, da, da. Do you want me to make you a cereal? No. Right, go take that with Jasmine. With Tyler. Take the Tyler. Yes. Okay. Right. Go. Come upstairs with her. Come. You can sit with Jasmine. Yeah. Let me just keep. I'm hungry. Yeah, I can make you cereal. I want some breakfast. Yeah, I want this pack of things. Yeah, Okay. So, of course, the minute I start the live stream, they come down. What I'm going to do is quickly make them some cereal. But before I do, I found, you know, have any of you lot heard of Darby Shaw? I want to read something out on Darby Shaw's Facebook channel. She's a very, very well-known researcher. I'm going to read it out to you because I liked it too much. So what I'll do while I'm making them breakfast, I'm going to put a rare interview on. Make them breakfast and then come back, which only takes a second. I think I'm going to choose. Let's have a look. Have you gotten completely out from under the... Right, we're going to play this Lisa Marie interview, then I'm going to make their breakfast. Where you going, Monkey? I was going to make you breakfast. I'm eating it up here. All right, okay. I'm going to play this anyway. Presley name, do you think? I think it'd be very naive to state that would ever happen, you know, completely. Have you gotten completely out from under the weight of the Presley name, do you think? I think it'd be very naive to state that would ever happen, you know, completely. I would continue if it was just about that, honestly. If I was showing up and just doing that, and then that was the only thing I was known for, or anybody talked to me about ever, I would get a bit discouraged, but thankfully that's not the case. The more important thing is that there are people out there, thank God, who just like real music that's not necessarily sellout, you know, soulless music that's just kind of popular for whatever reason at the moment, you know. Thank God there's still those people out there that just genuinely like it. When you heard
your voice and your dad's voice. It was just I could never sing like he can sing. I'm never ever going to say that. I'm more of a singer-songwriter, singer. But there's something that was really cool and intimate and organic. That's what I thought. How'd you react? I actually had broke down for a second. I mean, I was sort of overwhelmed because there's a lot of soul here. I think just going through the process of stripping everything away and rediscovering myself afterwards, and it was just a process, uncovering and coming out from a lot of things that were destroyed and having to find. What do you think he would say about where you are today with your career and the music that you're putting out? Well, I would hope that he would be very proud of me, of course. I would just hope that he would be. I'm sure he would understand what I'm up against as well, and I think he would be. I feel music's important. I know that's there, but I need to. I feel music changes things and helps people, and it's just really, that's what it's about for me. He was one of a kind. He had it all. He was a very special human being, and I think that's one of the reasons why, you see what you see out there today in the video. People recognize that. There wasn't any kind of mechanics or machine involved in him or anything. Okay, I'm this way, or no manipulation or no agenda. He was off stage who he was on stage. So that's a big difference, and people can feel that. People respond to that, and it's in his music, and they respond to that as well. I love you 'cause you.
Brilliant interview. Brilliant interview. Right, you see that, the timing, guys? I got the sick kids breakfast, and I'm a bit out of breath running up and down the stairs. So let's just check your comments. She sure wrote everything she was thinking down on paper and put it into songs. Very beautifully talented lady. I agree, Linda. So, I'm a bit out of breath now because of that. So, I spent the whole morning digging out little bits that I wanted to talk about. I still think the subject of Dave Hebler's interview has pricked a lot of interest, yeah? And I don't think we're done with that subject yet. With Red West, Sonny West, and Dave Hebler. I keep calling him Mark, but it's Dave Hebler. I'm just going to warm this coffee. I think we still need to talk about it. Now, I did. Let's warm that coffee. I did come across a brilliant writer from Darby Shore. Can I ask, are many of you aware of Darby Shore? Do any of you know who she is? She's a researcher on Facebook. All right, Susan McCoy. Yes, so Susan knows who she is. Do any of you know who she is? She's she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to defending Elvis Presley. Yeah? So I'm going to grab my coffee. Right. Okay. Let's Right, I'm hoping I can sit down now with no distractions. So good morning to all of you. We got the coffee, guys, butter coffee. You guys know I'm on carnivore and keto diet to help my health, and it's really worked for me. So different subject, but the carnivore diet, the keto diet is highly recommended. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, so Satlin is one that, one of Shauna's friends. Yeah, she's amazing. I don't think I've ever read out one of Darby Shore's comments. They're very long, they're very detailed, sometimes I think they're too long for me to go on the show, because I do try and squeeze my shows into 1 hour. But this one, where I may not agree with every comment in this write-up, but I was very impressed with it. And I'm very, grateful that Darby has allowed me to be on one of her friends on Facebook. And yes, I know she's good friends with Amy Collett. We know Amy Collett, the girl that did a show with Presley Mania on Rhonda's show. I think she was chatting with you guys on the 24/7 Facebook. Just so if anyone doesn't know, we have a 24/7 chat that is being used by all the subscribers and members of Defending Elvis Presley. It's on Facebook. The name of the Facebook channel is Defending Elvis Presley Louis Daily Live Streams. But to get onto the chat, you do have to friend request me. Let me just type it in. You friend request my name, then I add you to the chat. And this, I know I keep boasting about it, but this chat has taken on a life of its own. I'm sure all of you will agree with me that it's called Team Elvis Chat 24/7. And I'll tell you what, guys, it's astounded me, because obviously I'm in the UK, so half the time you guys are chatting, it's through the night. And I tell you what, I know many of you are in America, but all around the world, yeah, the chats that you guys have been having are just amazing. Like, we're talking, there are some seriously interesting topics being discussed, pictures, videos. A lot of you are tagging things onto this. You're also sending just nice little short clips. I'll just click on one randomly. This one's from Defending EP, which I really like his Instagram. It looks to me like he might be on Facebook and YouTube. Let's see what it is. But let's get some volume on it.
Situation, including myself and whoever else.
Right, here we go.
Elvis Presley.
Right. This is the type of stuff we're getting put on the chat, okay?
I just instinctively would give back or want to do things for people. I think anybody in that kind of situation, including myself and whoever else, my kids, I think it's important for anyone that's in that position or this position to, if you have that power, if you have that ability, you need to do something with it. I just instinctively would give back or want to do things for people. I think anybody in that kind of situation, including myself and whoever else, my kids, I think it's important for anyone that's in that position or this position to, if you have that power, if you have that ability, you need to do something with it. I just instinctively would give.
Yeah, it's just, that's one of hundreds of clips that you guys were posting last night. But also you're having proper debates about many subjects. I just love it. I love what Team Elvis Chat 24/7 has become. So guys, if you're not on it, I highly recommend you get on it. Highly recommend it. Right. So I want to read out this quite long but very interesting comment from Darby Shaw. Just got to find it a minute. Guys, go over to her Facebook. It's, if you're an Elvis defender, defending Elvis, Team Elvis, you are gonna find it fascinating. I think the reason she posted this one is because we've all been talking about it, haven't we? The book, I call it a betrayal book, Elvis What Happened by Sonny West, Red West, and Dave Hebler. So I think the reason we've all been talking about it is because Dave Hebler had this very recent interview. I think it's made it a hot topic again. I did, just so you know, guys, I have been watching stuff. I did watch Shauna's reaction video. I don't know if you guys know that she's doing a reaction video now. And she did the one on D. Stanley, and these crazy things that she said years and years ago, and she did a reaction review on it. I thought it was really good. That Dee Stanley is cuckoo. She is cuckoo. Come on, guys. And I think Shauna is going to do a series of reaction reviews. I think it was good. She did a really good job of it. Did any of you watch it? Right, let's have a look then, guys. Darby Shaw. Right, betrayal on so many levels. A lot of talks has been going on about this book. We can talk all day about how the bodyguards felt betrayed and then betrayed Elvis in return, and how two wrongs don't make a right, and a huge failure to communicate. The reason she puts that comment in is because in the Red West conversation with Elvis, that Red West secretly recorded, which he should never have done, guys. That's not what friends do. Elvis, he quotes a failure to communicate from the great film. Yeah. So let's keep reading. Let me just check your comments. I know it's like it's not even real, is it? It's crazy. It's crazy. I watched all of it. And on Shauna's show, I'd say she's nuts. The woman is nuts, right? But what rarely gets discussed is the fact that Colonel is protected in this book. Now, I didn't know this. I'm not sure if Elaine is on, because I know Elaine has read this book many times. Let's have a look. Where are we? All right, I haven't watched the live. So was she Satin, was she live last night? I haven't watched that. I do always go back and watch. I do try and make sure that I watch Shauna and Rhonda. I do. Let's have a look. Do we really think that the Colonel didn't know about the book ahead of time? Great question. Do we ever hear anything about him trying to support or protect Elvis in this endeavor? Good point. Noticeably, there are no negative comments about the Colonel in this book. I never picked up on that. But I'm not going to lie, guys. I have not read the book page to page. I haven't. Then we've got. I believe that the Colonel knew about this book, had a conversation about the book with the bodyguards or the author or both, where there was an agreement to leave him out of the finger pointing. So did we get that, guys? She's basically saying she thinks the Colonel knew about the book and was okay with it as long as the book didn't make the Colonel look bad. Have any of you read the book cover to cover? Oh, let me just get the charger on. I'm just going to get the charger for the laptop. All right. Let's just plug the charger in, guys, so we don't suddenly just turn off. Right, we're back. So have any of you actually read the book cover to cover? I'm just checking who's on. Right, okay. Right. So let's just keep going. And that is a betrayal at the fullest from the inside out. I see that. And when people closest to you, the people paid to protect your image and promote you, the people that know you at your best and worst, the people who are close as family, as part of a conspiracy to bring you down. So let's ask the question, what would Elvis do? And do you know what? I've started doing this a lot lately, guys. You know, we've had a few disagreements on the 24/7 chat. We've had a few disagreements on YouTube. We've had a few disagreements on the live streams. I was a bit between a rock and a hard place because I'm trying to keep everyone happy because people have got passionate views about different subjects. And And in the end, it always came back. What would Elvis do? It did. And I know that Joel Weishankar also said this in his speech when he was talking on behalf of Graceland and Elvis Presley Enterprises. And I started thinking, well, he is right about that. He is right. We on Defending Elvis, this channel, Defending Elvis Presley Fans Want the Truth, Team Elvis, I do think when I'm looking for answers and I'm a bit stuck, because I was a bit stuck on these arguments that were happening on our channel, because I could see both points of view. I could see people were arguing, but they both had different points of view, but I understood both points of view. So in the end, I'm always now going to come back to, and this is how I'm going to run this channel with Team Elvis. What would Elvis have done? So when these people were arguing, I did come back to the point of, well, how would Elvis have handled it? And it was very simple. Elvis would have tried his best to be fair and to end the argument. He would have been kind, understanding, and thoughtful. He would have tried to keep both parties happy. Yeah. So I don't think Elvis would have took sides. Yeah. I want to be like that. The only time that I step in and go, right, I'm blocking people, is if they get rude. If they get rude, then I'm like, if there's personal insults, I have to jump in and block them. That's what I thought, guys. Right, anyway, back to it. So let's keep going here. What would Elvis do? Well, we know he never publicly spoke poorly of any of these people that have turned and burned on Elvis. Well, now that is a great point, yeah? Elvis never spoke publicly against these people that wrote the book and some of the other Memphis Mafia members. Also, we know from the Red West conversation that was secretly recorded with Elvis, that should never have been secretly recorded because these people are supposed to be friends, Elvis stayed polite and friendly and caring and understanding, even offering his help right to the end of that phone call. Now, Elvis didn't know for definite he was being recorded. He didn't know. He may have thought it's a possibility, but Elvis was very, very careful and fair and friendly how he spoke to Red West in that phone call. And in my opinion, I don't really think he thought he was being recorded, but it's possible. And he stayed polite through the whole thing and helpful and understanding, even saying, do what you got to do. So this comment that's just said, Elvis never publicly spoke poorly of any of these people, is completely correct. And even this is also true about ex-girlfriends and Priscilla Presley. And Priscilla Presley, if anything, Elvis praised Priscilla and tried to explain the circumstances that led to the divorce. And we know damn well, guys, that the reason they split up was because of the Mike Stone affair and the Steve Peck affair, in my opinion. This happened in 68 and around 71, yeah? But Elvis still, on tour, stood up. We've all heard the conversation. You can get it on YouTube. Elvis still defended Priscilla, I would say, even blaming himself. Do you guys know this conversation? He blamed himself for the breakup, but said that they will remain good friends and they both, loved Lisa Marie and that he was away too often. When we know that the real truth of the breakup was quite horrible and bitter, what Priscilla had done, and also the second divorce settlement. Elvis never spoke about the second divorce settlement, even though it was really cruel, really greedy and really cruel from Priscilla. So let's keep going. Well, we know he never publicly spoke poorly of any of these people and had turned and burned on Elvis. Whatever issues they were, Elvis was still protective of those he cared about. It's so true, guys. It's so true. That doesn't that just say everything about Elvis's personality, the kind of person that he was? Right, let's keep going. It's all right, it just jumped up. It's annoying when it does that. Let's have a look. There we go. So we rarely hear about the drug use, the womanizing, the illegitimate children, the neglected relationship, the financial failures of what have you of the others around Elvis. And we certainly never hear it discussed by Elvis. So they're talking about the Memphis Mafia here, that what they did, their wrongdoing, illegitimate children, womanizing, neglected relationships, financial failures, and what you have others. So come on, the Memphis Mafia made a lot of mistakes. Right. So someone's just messaged. Let me just let them know we're live. Oh, I think it was Tina. I just told her, yeah. So people like to talk about Elvis' state of mind during the last years, but he had enough kindness in his heart to attempt to call President Carter. So don't forget, people try and make out as if he was close to death and extremely sick and couldn't do anything. I think that is the point of what she's about to say now. So then we've got, this is in his last year, yeah? Last years, so with an S, right? But he had enough kindness in his heart to attempt to call President Carter on GK's behalf and try to protect him in legal issues. GK, who's G? I'm not sure who GK is. He had enough mindset to want others to be happy and pay and attend weddings. We know about that. He attended their weddings sometimes. I even heard about one time where a policeman had died and he went and sang at the policeman's funeral. Beautiful, beautiful. He had enough mindset to attempt to help others in his own business interests. We know about that he did. There's a story that we've been, what's his name? Let me just, sorry, it's just jumped. It keeps jumping up. It's really annoying. Let's find it. It's doing it to wind me up, guys. Shh. Yeah. Right, let's find it. Here we go. So I think Joe Esposito, quite a few of you have been mentioning the racquetball business failure. I think Elvis helped him, and many of you think that Joe Esposito was not good to Elvis. So we need to discuss that, don't we? Do any of you guys know about the Joe Esposito problems? Because I don't. So, right. He had enough mindset to keep touring because too many people were depending on him. There are many other points that could have been made, but this is truth. Even at Elvis's worst, he didn't speak publicly to embarrass or get justice. We hear about Elvis being sued, but I can't recall when Elvis sued others. Well, he never did he? Elvis never sued anybody. Let me just check your comments. I believe if they were true Elvis fans, they never would have said horrible things or even making money off it. Patricia, I agree. Now, if Elvis had died, God rest his soul, and God rest Lisa Marie's soul, we love them both, on good terms. If they had died on good terms, I don't think the fans would mind the Memphis Mafia making money, being proud and boasting about their friendship with Elvis. But because of the book, the fans do mind. We fans, we do mind. The people who are making money off Elvis's name that fell out with Elvis, that double-crossed him, that betrayed him. And really anybody that It could be anyone really, even ex-girlfriends. Definitely Priscilla Presley. If they're spending their life making money based on saying the negative things about Elvis, we as Elvis fans, people that love Elvis, just people like me, just at home in my kitchen that love Elvis, we got a problem with these people. Because where was it agreed with these people? It could be ex-girlfriends, could be Memphis Mafia. Oh, by the way, let's say if I was Elvis Presley and I've got friends, ex-girlfriends, where was it agreed? Oh, by the way, if I ever die, make money from me. Make money using my name for the rest of your lives. Oh, and say negative things that I wouldn't like you to repeat. Say things that I want kept private. Yeah? Say that I had a drug problem. Say that I had an eating disorder. Say that I was addicted to things. I had a bad temper. I liked young girls. Yeah? All of these things have been twisted into a new narrative by many of these people, especially Priscilla. Obviously, you guys know my feelings on this book, which I keep saying again and again. We don't have any proof that any of this book happened. None. This is Priscilla's story. Now, yes, it's loosely based on fact. It's loosely based on real events, real people. We don't know if any of this is true, but this book, in some parts, makes Elvis look really bad. So do you get my point, guys? My point is, I think Elvis fans, Team Elvis, we're always going to have a problem with people that made money from Elvis. But I want to go back to that little point I was making. If all of these people parted from Elvis on good terms, I think the fans, obviously I can't speak on behalf of all the fans. I can speak on behalf of myself. I personally think if people stayed on good terms with Elvis up to the day that he died, I think we'd be okay with the books and these people promoting Elvis, praising Elvis, showing the good side of Elvis. We'd be okay with that. We're not okay with these people talking negatively about Elvis for their whole lives, for decades, and making money. We're not okay with that, are we, guys? So, anyway, let's keep going. There's only one time, right? Okay. There's only one time we hear about Elvis being so hurt and angry, and that considers vigilante justice with Mike Stone. But even then, he backs down. Come on, the Mike Stone thing where he was trying to say, "Let's get him killed." I think with Red West and Sonny Stone. Come on, it was just him blowing off his temper. That's all it was. He was blowing off his temper. I better tell Elaine that we're live. I think I've just seen a comment come up from Elaine. I'm like, let's have a look. So Elaine, are you on? Let's just have a look. I know that. I'll just put it on again. Melissa, are you on? There's Tina and Melissa that are chatting. Are you on, guys? Obviously, I know people don't like it if they miss the lives. Let's go back. Who we got? I don't know. We've got Lorna and Linda, and Patricia, Jean, Satlin, Jane, Teresa, Karen. Hi, in case I've missed you guys, hi to everyone. There's 28 of you watching, which is for the morning is brilliant. Please subscribe, guys. Who else? Yeah, Melissa is on. Melissa, you're late. How dare you? Melissa, we're just reading a long comment, a very detailed comment from Darby Shaw's Facebook. Darby Shaw is a highly respected Elvis Presley researcher, and I hope she doesn't mind me reading this. I'm breaking it down. I'm just doing a review of it, and it's the point of it. The point of it is because we've been discussing the tell-all book, Elvis What Happened, and the Dave Hebler interview. This is a bit of a hot topic at the moment, so I'm reading her comment on her views. Right. The rumor is that Frank Sinatra, you know, the one who helped protect Robert Wagner from prosecution in Natalie Wood's death. I didn't know about that. But that is a very interesting subject, isn't it? Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood's death. So the rumor is that he contacted Elvis and asked if he could help with the bodyguards' betrayal. Elvis declined the offer. I wonder why that was. So then Linda Thompson tells that Elvis fully intended for the guys to be compensated much better than what they received, and that he was possibly going to rehire them. And I repeat that, guys, because I believe that if things were allowed to settle, if the dust was allowed to settle once Vernon had sacked the bodyguards, I think Elvis would have took them back. And I think Elvis financially would have made sure they were okay. Because sometimes I get comments. I've had a few people say it, actually, more than one, that the way Elvis fired Red West, Sonny West, Dave Hebler, and others, was cruel, didn't care about their families because they needed to feed their families, and that it was okay that the book was written. No, I don't agree. For a start, my opinion is that Red West had dug his heels in, and once he had been fired this time, Red West had hit a point where he basically was saying, enough's enough, I'm going to write a book and tell my story. But he wasn't just telling his story. He was telling Elvis's story as well, and with no proof. So we don't know what they were saying, if any of it was true. We don't really know, do we? It's Red West's point of view, Sonny West's point of view, Dave Hebler's point of view. So we've got video footage that proves Red West saying he was angry. I think it was Sonny that said it, anger and bitterness. They wrote that book from anger and bitterness. They did. There was a revenge happening here when they wrote that book. I don't care what anyone says. And when I hear people say they wrote it to try and stop him from taking drugs, I don't agree. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think they literally were angry. They wanted money. They were greedy for money. It's just my opinion, guys. They thought it was going to get them rich. They completely took for granted the friendship they'd had with Elvis for all those decades. Completely took it for granted. The kindness that Elvis gave them. The fact that Elvis had paid for everything for them for decades. Literally everything. You name it, Elvis paid it. Okay, their salary wasn't high, but it didn't need to be high because Elvis paid for everything. If you throw in all the expenses that these people had, including their wives, mind, including their families, their wages would have been very high, but that isn't taken into account. They bring up the figure, is it $475 or $250 a week or a month, whatever it was. And people bring that up. Oh, they were on a very low salary. No, they weren't, guys, because it was pumped up by Elvis paying for everything they needed, everything. And they were living in luxury, living a life of Riley around celebrities, whether it be on the movie sets or on the tours and in beautiful hotels. They were having the time of their lives because of Elvis Presley. And it is true, without Elvis, they were nothing. Without Elvis, they were nothing. Anyway, it has been said that the firing was a tactic that is used today to avoid problems with the lawsuits. Now, we know about the lawsuits. The bodyguards were heavy-handed. I think in one of them, they even broke someone's arm. The bodyguards claim it was because of drugs. Now, they do try and say that they beat up the drug dealers. But again, isn't this just saying, Elvis was taking street drugs, so we beat them up? Well, as far as I can tell, the drug dealers were giving drugs to the Memphis Mafia. Elvis didn't touch the street drugs. Elvis didn't touch the street drugs, in my opinion. We know Vernon wasn't a fan of the guys. They were, in fact, financial issues. 100%, there was definitely financial issues. And we also know that, I agree, Vernon had issues with some of the Memphis Mafia, 100%. And he should. He's a protective father in charge of the money, in charge of the accounts. He should have his eye on the money. He's running a business. So somewhere in all of the pieces of the puzzle, we can presume, if we use previous patterns of behavior, that Elvis did not intend to harm these guys. 100%. 100%. And they know it. They know it. I would always say, guys, it was greed. It was greed that wrote that book. And those guys, especially Red West, Sonny West, and Dave Hebler, paid the price, because they have been punished again and again and again and again for writing that book for 47 years. They have been hated, and even death threats. Now, I don't wish that on anyone, guys. My nature is to forgive and move on. But the problem you have is that the book keeps doing damage. Every time the book is read by another person, more damage. Every time the book is read by another person, people see more betrayal. And then you've got, there's certain people that say, you know, Dave Hebler is an old man now. Isn't he nearly 90? And it's cruel, the hate that he still gets to this day, every day. It is. Do you know what, guys? It is cruel. But remember, and I feel sorry for that old man that made this stupid decision. I call it a mistake. Other people say it's not a mistake. It was intentional. But I say this, that stupid mistake that he made way back in 1976. I think it was, the book was written a year before it came out, I think. I'm not definite on the dates. You can put me right on the dates. Has plagued them, all three of them, to the day they died. I know that it cut them up. I've seen Red West get angry when he's doing his public meetings, very defensive. Even Sonny West. I know some of you have said Sonny West, in the end, did admit he regretted being involved with that book. I don't know if that's true. Now, the Dave Hebler interview, I thought was very disappointing. The one we saw the other day, I saw no regret, no remorse. I actually saw quite an angry, bitter man. I did feel sorry for him. I do think he's gone through a lot of hurt, but still very stubborn and would not climb down, admit the wrongdoing. He spent most of the interview trying to convince us that what he did was the right thing to do because they were trying to save Elvis's life. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Now, of course, they had strong feelings about the fact that Elvis seemed like he was basically killing himself with medication. Not just prescribed medication, the painkillers, the uppers, the downers, the opiates, etc. But you don't write a book. You don't write a book. That's not how you get to Elvis. To help Elvis, you don't do it by exposing lies, and we don't know what's true around the world, humiliating Elvis. They humiliated him. The whole world overnight, once that book was published, were calling Elvis disgusting names. And not just books, newspapers, tabloids, but also TV. And Elvis has been branded so many horrible things. This is why we're called Defending Elvis Presley. Elvis has been branded so many horrible things for so many decades. And a big part of it is because of that book, Elvis What Happened. I know there's other reasons, Priscilla, other things that have been said by ex-girlfriends and the Memphis Mafia. And, we have strong views about Dr. Nick. Now, I'm not completely against Dr. Nick. I have two sides to the coin when we talk about Dr. Nick. But my point is, no matter how we can talk about this situation with this book all day long, no one is ever going to be able to prove that they should not have written that book. Nobody. I know certain people feel sorry for Dave Hebler because now that he's a very old man. I get it, guys. We're human beings. We're kind people. We have good hearts. But we are also very loyal Elvis fans. And I don't think we can forgive it. Someone did say if he had at least apologized, maybe there was room for movement where we could forgive. And I agree with that comment. I got a feeling it's at the end of this write-up. I stand by that. If Dave Hebler had apologized for the making of that book, and I think, did any of them apologize? Now, it's one thing to say they regret it. It's another thing to apologize. I don't think any of them apologized. I don't think they did. Yeah. Now, the fans can't handle that. Even Elvis, God rest his soul, he would expect an apology. He would expect an apology. That Elvis was so good to them. So good on so many levels. Anyway, I need to carry on reading this or else we're never going to read it. In addition, we know that Elvis intentionally practiced prayer and forgiveness. That was displayed in grace towards those who had wronged him. Even Mike Stone, Linda tells of Elvis praying for Priscilla's happiness to no longer hold anger against Mike. Oh, that's beautiful. Ed Parker talks about how Elvis even almost sent Mike a TCB necklace as an olive branch. Wow. I'd love to see proof of that, guys. I'd like to see proof of that. Ed Parker talks about Elvis wanting to send Mike Stone a TCB necklace as an olive branch gesture. Wow. I really hope that's true. And I would not be surprised if that is true. I would not be surprised. Putting it in perspective, let's say Elvis coldly dismissed the bodyguards without any care for their well-being, which I don't believe. That is his character. But let's say he did. Obviously, I don't believe that he did that. But let's see what she's going to say. Did Elvis deserve to be betrayed at such a level? It's a great question. Did Elvis deserve to be betrayed at such a level? Now, there's, people will say that, the families needed to be fed. They suddenly found themselves with no jobs. But come on, these were not people that couldn't get a job. Let's be honest. These were grown men that could get a job. They'd spent their lives looking after a celebrity. They were bodyguards, security guards, and they did many other jobs that were Elvis's assistants. They were going to get a job. They were going to get a job. And since when does Elvis have to keep these people employed for the rest of their lives? And if he doesn't, they run off and do a tell-all book and betray him just to make money because they're angry and resentful for revenge. I watched an interview where Dave Hebler said, what were we supposed to do? Nothing. And I've seen this bit. Dave Hebler is basically saying, look, he was on drugs. He was going to kill himself. We didn't have a choice. They did have a choice. That's the one thing they did have was choice. They did have choice. And they did make the wrong choice, guys. It didn't make any difference to the circumstances of Elvis. If anything, it made him more stressed, more unhappy, and drove him to death. One of the reasons he died, the divorce settlement, the book, and his chronic sickness, his chronic health ailments that most of them had been born with. While I can have empathy for the position of the three bodyguards, and I do have that, guys. I have empathy for the three bodyguards. The way they was hated on for 47 years and it's still going on. We're human. Elvis fans, we have good hearts. We're kind people. But we also want to defend Elvis. We also want to show Elvis loyalty. And our way of being loyal to Elvis is to share our views on the stupid mistake that we feel that those three bodyguards made. So, in my mind, a better way of a gentleman or a man of character to understand that there are many ways to move forward without vengeance and bitterness. It has been said that the book was written with the intent to help Elvis. This is where the saying with the friends like that. You don't need enemies. Yeah. You don't. Yeah, it's true. Comes in for one. I'm not familiar with the best practice where embarrassment and humiliation in successful in helping people. I agree. They embarrassed and humiliated him. This didn't help Elvis. And to this day, the guys can't really admit they were angry and they made a mistake. They were angry and they made a mistake, which they have actually admitted that they were bitter and angry. Sonny West said it. They've never said it was a mistake. Never. Never. I think Dave Hepler said maybe a different person could have written that book. But that's still not a good enough excuse. Making the person who wrote the book the scapegoat doesn't work with me. It doesn't work with me. It's not fair. Oh, it was all his fault. And you know who, guys. Right, I'll just keep reading. They can't admit that they laid up in a hotel for 30 days and fed off the hurt and anger and teamed up to teach Elvis a lesson. That is what they were doing, guys. They were trying to teach Elvis a lesson. They had got some power. We're going to write this book. They knew it was going to be a world seller, a bestseller. They knew the whole world were going to buy that book. As far as I know, well over 3 million copies, yeah? I don't know for definite. Remember, they did get a percentage of every book sale to a certain point. I think there was a certain year where it stopped. And I know it was quite a small amount. I think so. Some of you are saying it was like 6 cents or something. But remember the millions that sold. And they would have been given a cash lump up front. A cash lump up front. I don't care what anyone says. There's no way these guys were never going to get employed again. These guys were going to get jobs to feed their families. Anyone that says to me they couldn't feed their families, I don't agree. I don't agree. They were going to get jobs. Anyone that says to me that, because many people mention that they were harshly sacked by Vernon. We're not sure if Elvis fully knew that they were being sacked. But we don't know the circumstances behind the scenes that led up to the sacking. It wasn't just we know there were financial problems. We know that there was the lawsuits where they had been heavy-handed, but there would have been many other things. I would say there would have been dozens and dozens of reasons why Vernon felt that these guys had to be let down and sacked. Yeah, quite bluntly, quite quickly. We don't know the whole story. We don't know the truth. We've read the letter from Vernon that who sent me that? Vibex. Hi, Vibex, if you're there. Vibex sent me a letter from Vernon after this book was written, but we don't really know what went on. Guys, maybe they did deserve to be sacked. This is what I say. Maybe they did deserve to be sacked. Maybe Vernon was right to sack them. So I don't accept the two things that have been said to me, that it's tight because he's an old man, and the other thing, they had lost their jobs, they couldn't feed their families. I don't accept it. I don't accept it. Now, I do say this: we are forgiving people. We should forgive. I do believe that. I also accept that if a man nearly 90 years old is being hounded, that doesn't sit right with me. It's time to let it go. But I will never accept that the book was a good decision, and that the writer of the person who wrote helped them write this book. I won't allow him to be the scapegoat. It's not good enough, guys. It's not good enough. They wanted him to know that they had the power. Yes. It was a lesson that he couldn't just cast them aside. They wanted him to know that they had the power. It's true. They were on a high. And if you watch the interview that was done, the press conference, just after the book came out, I don't like it. you see 3 angry people, and they're using the excuse they're trying to save his life, stop him taking drugs. Not once did they mention that he was chronically sick and needed the medication that he was on. Elvis had many ailments, and they don't mention it once. They just say he's a drug addict, insinuating that he took street drugs. No. Dave even said in a recent interview that if he had to do it again, he would still write the book, but with a different author. That is a joke, a complete cop-out. That's his sly way of blaming the author. Come on. Dave has to take it on the chin and go, I messed up. I effed up. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to the fans. I'm sorry I degraded and embarrassed, humiliated Elvis, who was only good to me, who treated me like royal family, gave me the best life I've ever had. All of them, even now, still admit. I know that most of them are dead, except for Dave. And we've got, Billy and Jerry still alive. All of them had the best time of their lives, the happiest, best time of their lives. They all owe Elvis. They all owe Elvis. Elvis deserves better. The book is just one of many things that we are going to defend Elvis on. The book isn't the only thing that defending Elvis Presley fans want the truth are upset about. The book is just one of the things, but it's a hot topic this week because of the Dave Hebler interview. And I think Dave Hebler, I think some of you had told me that I thought he was at Elvis Week, getting pictures taken with him. But in the end, it turns out he was at the Memphian Theatre. He had his own separate event. Well, even that speaks volumes to me. The fact that he had to hold a separate event in the theatre, Memphian Theatre, rather than being at Elvis Week. That says a lot to me. That says a lot. Probably if he went into Elvis Week, he'd get a lot of hate, maybe even be attacked. That's how angry and upset the Elvis fans are. The fans that love Elvis, the fans that know Elvis's heart. I'll repeat that bit. Dave even said in a recent interview that if he had to do it again, he would still write the book, but with a different author. I just think that is a joke, guys. That was the end of his interview. He couldn't end it by apologizing and regret. He couldn't say he regretted it. He couldn't do it. He even admitted that he was still getting hate letters 47 years later. Come on, guys. What's the matter with that man? Stubborn. Dave brags about being a karate expert, but it seems to me that he is missing some of the fundamental concepts of the mindset of karate. The bodyguard betrayed their position of being protectors. The doctors and nurses betrayed their own oaths to do no harm. The colonel betrayed his contract with Elvis to promote him. Elvis fans today betray Elvis by putting money in the pockets of people who perpetuate negativity about him for personal gain. And obviously there's the picture there of the book. So guys, quite a serious live stream. I'm just going to make a cup of tea. And now I just want you guys to know, whilst I'm doing this live stream, I mean it respectfully. I'm not trying to create any hate or any anger. I don't want you guys to fall out with each other. We are entitled to all our views. So when we talk to each other on the live stream and on YouTube and on Facebook and on 24/7, please, it's okay to have different views, but let's keep it friendly. I don't want any personal attacks about people's personalities. Can we please disagree in a friendly, respectful way? I'm just going to make a tea, then I'll come back and read your comments. Right, so I'm just waiting for the kettle to boil. Let's have a look. Yeah, Finola, yeah. Yeah, sat there all happy. That's Ella. She's about getting on to 9 years old now. She's the daughter of my other dog. Elvis had a set of balls to face his fans after the book was wrote. No sugarcoating, facing it head on. So true. Lou, when your dog barks, my dog looks around. Billy Smith said Elvis was hurt by the book and shaken. Of course he was. Karen, of course he was. I feel very passionate about this topic, and I really do think Elvis was forgiving to them, and so that's good enough for me. And Elvis not to like to know his fans and gave them hate. Elaine, I agree. Elvis, 100%, he was forgiving to them. He was so kind. He was a beautiful man in his heart, and eventually, once he calmed down, there was no hate. I agree. Doesn't that just say everything about how amazing Elvis was? I wish they were like that. Yeah, I wish when they were considering writing the book, I really wish that they were like that. But they weren't. They weren't forgiving like that. Elvis forgave them. Why couldn't they forgive Elvis? This is my point. So Elaine has a comment about. Elaine says, sorry guys, let me just come back to you. Got me a cup of tea, guys. Right. Now, I want to follow on a bit more with Elaine. Elaine, you know I love you, and I completely respect you. I know you mean well, and you come from the heart. I know you love Elvis. But I want to turn your comment around. You say Elvis forgives them. That's good enough for me. Okay, I respect that. And we know the reason Elvis forgives them is because he's one of the kindest people that have ever lived. Yeah? But why couldn't have they done that to him? Why couldn't have they just forgiven Elvis and gone off and got jobs? They were very employable. Very employable. Why couldn't have they just gone off and got jobs and forgiven Elvis? It works both ways. To me, it's no good saying, oh, because Elvis forgave them, everything is okay. No. Why couldn't they forgive Elvis? Instead, they didn't forgive Elvis. They went off and humiliated him in public around the world with this book and on interviews. Don't forget, they had these press conferences, and then they spent the next 40 years sometimes saying the negative things about Elvis. So there's more to it. I agree, it was very brave of him to face his fans and the rest of the world, but imagine the stress, especially considering how sick he was at the time. Yes. 2 weeks later, he died. He died 2 weeks later. Anyone who slated Elvis gets my backup. Jane, I agree. I agree. Elvis wasn't the man that how can I say it? I would say almost everything negative that is said about Elvis has been twisted. And there isn't that many things. How many things can people say? They bring up underage girls. They bring up eating. They bring up drugs. He may have had a bit of a temper. What else is there? What else is there? There's nothing else. But we could list hundreds of good things about Elvis. It was everything was twisted negatively against him. I'm going to do the comments backwards, otherwise I'm never going to catch up, guys. Karen, right? So Elaine, Karen, yes, he was at first, but he calmed down, and he was even going to rehire them. Well, we don't know that he was going to rehire them, so that isn't correct. But I do think he would have. And Saturday, we got Elizabeth. Yes, 100% agreed. Elvis was forgiving towards multiple acts of betrayal. He sure was. Even Priscilla. Come on. Even Priscilla. Even Mike Stone. The tabloids always picked away at Elvis like vultures right from the beginning of his career. These guys knew how scandalous the book was and how it could have been a bestseller, definite. Thank you, Tracy. 100%. Elaine, let's have a look. I feel let's have a look about. Right, okay, we've already read that comment. Let's keep going. I'm just going to go backwards. Sorry, guys. I don't really like to go backwards, but I don't have a choice because otherwise we're going to be here for 3 hours. The thing was, Elvis was upset to begin with, but he wasn't bothered about the book. If he was, we have hid himself away in Graceland and not gone on tour. No offense, Elaine, but he was bothered about the book. Yeah. He was very bothered. I would say he was so hurt that it was part of the reason that he died. I don't think you'll ever get anyone ever to say to you, and I say this with respect, that Elvis was not bothered about the book. So I think you're really getting that one wrong, Elaine. But I say it respectively. It's just my view. I'm no expert. I'm not an Elvis expert. I'm a human being, and I have my own common sense. You guys comment. Tell me what you think. But the interview did not help him. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, like Linda says, we can agree to disagree. That's fine. Come on, guys. That's why we're here. We don't have to all agree on things. Sandra mentions something very heartfelt. And yes, you don't go writing books about it. I have the book and read it back in the day. They didn't write the book to help Elvis. They wrote it to make money. They were grown men and they could have gotten a real job anywhere. I completely agree. Rosalind, and no, they weren't going to starve. Come on, it's ridiculous. Anyone that thinks that these guys were not going to have money to feed their families or kids is wrong. Elaine is entitled to her conclusions. It doesn't make her right. She's entitled to her conclusions. Let's have a look. Vernon did not carry out what Elvis wanted. Priscilla Bulow wrote her book out of revenge. So did a lot of the others. It's no different to what the guys did. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Priscilla was just as bad. I truly believe the guys got really bad rap when it is the hate for Steve Dunleavy and for Vernon, who was the catalyst of all of this. Elvis let the guys go. He fired them, not Vernon. Okay. Now, there's no way I'm allowing Steve in my point of view. Me, I don't matter. I don't count. I'm not important. I'm just giving you my views. I'm a guy at home in the kitchen talking about Elvis. I've still got a lot to learn about Elvis. I'm no expert. I'm not a researcher. I'm just a fan. But I will not allow Steve Dunleavy to be the scapegoat. And I also won't accept that we don't know all the facts why Vernon decided to sack these people. We don't know. There was a lot more to it. We've been told the obvious stuff. Yeah, we've been told the fact that there was lawsuits because they had been very heavy-handed with the fans. We know about the fact that there was financial problems, money problems with Elvis. Because Vernon was the money guy, wasn't he, paying all the bills? But we don't really know all the different things that went on behind the scenes, all the different arguments. My gut feeling is that these men, especially Sonny and Red and Dave, had become very bitter, envious, jealous, angry, and greedy. That's my guess. That is my guess. And wanted more money. That's what I say. Let's have a look. Right, Tracy. During 1976, 1977, Elvis was not partying as much as he did in the past. After every tour, he came back to Graceland to recuperate. The rest of the guys were mostly off doing their own thing. And I've heard that. Tracy, but I could also imagine that it bothered them, that Elvis had become boring. Elvis didn't want all the young girls and the late all-night parties. Elvis had changed. So their fun had gone. Their fun had gone. I know they tried to blame Larry Geller, didn't they, for, you know, earlier on in Elvis's life. It was all take. Me, take. That's what it all was. Elaine, I would never read that book. This is Linda. And I know they speak highly of Elvis in parts. I don't care. I've heard what is written in it. That's enough for me. And I've heard Sonny say some things that are. Look, guys, I will clearly admit to you, I haven't read the book. I've read 3 chapters. I have. But not reading the book isn't gonna, it doesn't give the person the excuse to say, you can't go, oh, because you didn't read the book, you're not allowed to have points of view. You're not allowed to have opinions. You're not allowed to disagree with the fact that the book was ever written, ever released. Whether you've read the book or not, the book was released. The book did do damage. The book harmed Elvis's legacy, image, reputation for 50 years, 47 years, yeah? So it doesn't matter if you've read it. If you know that this book and a part of this book is derogatory to Elvis, that's it. That's all you need to know. You don't have to be like, oh, did you read it? Did you read it? Nah. Sorry, no. Not accepting that. Right. Right, let's keep going back. I would highly suggest people read the book and get a copy. I bought it back in the day and all the pages are yellow. Well, you just had my response to that, guys. Come on, guys. I haven't read all of Child Bride. Yeah? I've still got strong opinions on it. Very strong opinions. Right. Let's have a look. I hardly believe Elvis was toying with the idea to give a TCB necklace to Mike Stone. Utter tosh. Just another mythical story that cannot be. And Tracy, when I read that bit, I did say, please, can I have evidence of that? I would love it. I would love to see evidence of that. Because I actually think there is a chance it's true. And I'll tell you why I say that, Tracy. Again, I say it with respect. Because I know how good Elvis's heart was. He was a beauty, he was not just a good Christian who loved the Bible, who had a lovely upbringing by his parents. I just think Elvis was so kind. He couldn't help it. He had a heart of gold. He couldn't help. I think even Lisa Marie says it in that little clip. It's just the way he was. It's just I'm not going to play because it'll just distract everything. He's just the way he was, guys. When he calmed down, he forgave everyone, including Priscilla. That's him. Yeah. So Tracy, I think it might be true. Right. So Trace, Elaine says, I best shut up now before I get jumped on again. In my opinion, no, Elaine, people are not jumping on you. You are putting out there your views, which is completely your right. But if your views are quite extreme, you're gonna get a big backlash. It's I don't think it's right that because we give you views, because I'm giving you very passionate views. I got nothing against you, Elaine. Yeah, I think you're a great person. I really like you. So me having passionate, strong views, disagreeing with your points, doesn't mean I'm jumping at you. Yeah. So if you're being defensive when you're posting extreme views, it's not going to work, is it? You're going to have to take it on the chin. Now, none of us know if we're right, do we? We are just airing our views. We have our opinions. We can't 100% say you're wrong because we weren't there. But you do have to, if you're prepared to throw rocks, you have to be prepared to get rocks thrown back at you, as long as it's not personal attacks. As long as no one is calling you names and giving you personal attacks on you as a person, and they're giving you views, points of views, that's it. You're gonna get a reaction. But I don't think it's fair to say that people are going to jump on you. No, they're just giving you their points of view. If anyone on here is rude to any of you guys, and I say this to you as a promise, as Elvis defenders, Team Elvis, if anyone is rude to you, I'll block them. I'll block them. But people are allowed to disagree with you and give very strong opinions disagreeing. It's completely right that they do that. You know, I won't have people that have strong opinions be labeled as bullies. I won't do that. Now, if someone is doing personal attacks, that's different. That's different. Yeah? So come on. If you're going to give it, you got to take it. And I say that with total respect. Elvis had a heart of gold. When JD had the house broken into, Elvis went straight to JD's wife and told her, and it was going to be sorted. He saw JD's children replace all their toys. That doesn't surprise me, Karen. Thank you. Right. The guys were angry but afterwards they thought the book would do some good and help Elvis and see how the excess he was taking was killing himself and how it was affecting those around him. So, right. 100% the medication Elvis was taking was harming him. 100%. Yeah. Definitely could have caused his death, partially. Yeah. 100% Elvis's medical problems and medication taking affected everyone around him. But what else was Elvis to do? You think about it. If Elvis was chronically sick, every part of his body was affected, his lungs, his liver, his colon. He had the mass migraines, he had glaucoma, he couldn't sleep, he needed pills to wake up, he needed pills to help him perform, he needed pills to go to sleep, he needed pills to relax. He was on some very complex medications, including steroids. We know about opioids and other things. What else was Elvis going to do? This is where the book goes wrong. Elvis was chronically sick. He needed his tablets. He needed over 40 tablets a day to function, and they had massive side effects. They were also very addictive. So what was Elvis to do? You turn to your doctor for medication. Elvis wanted even more medication because he was desperate, because he was dying. So he turned to other forms of medication to try and fix him, to try and soothe him, to reduce his pain, to reduce his discomfort. Of course, he was shoving loads of pills in his mouth because he didn't have a choice. He was dying in pain, serious discomfort. So that's my answer to that. Folks, like Kepler, just can't help but being negative. Negative people will always find something. Okay. I actually don't think Elaine's being negative. I think she just has a different point of view. A different point of view that I think almost nobody will agree with. I really do think Elaine's put herself out in the cold. I really think that. I think you'll struggle to find people to support anything that Elaine is saying. But I'm not saying that hatefully or horribly or being rude or nasty. I just think Elaine's point of view is so out there that you're gonna get a backlash of comments, respectful comments. I would imagine that being Elvis's bodyguard have been great on their resume when looking for another job, unless new jobs prospects were leery of their betrayal. Yeah, I think they would have got jobs quite easy. I really believe that. How many people have that kind of experience? Working with a massive celebrity and protecting a celebrity, all the security, they were obviously his personal assistant as well. So I think they would have got jobs easy. Dunleavy, because he added, altered and twisted the guy's words, he did not present the book how they wanted it to be presented, but he gets no hate. Well, I understand Elaine's point here, but I won't, in my opinion, Dunleavy is not going to be the scapegoat. Dunleavy is not going to be the scapegoat. And if that was true, surely Elvis, even for that reason alone, is deserved an apology from Red and Sonny and Mark and Dave. Deserved an apology because they could have at least said, look, the book didn't come out how we wanted it to, so we're sorry. They didn't do that. There was never any remorse or regret. I know a few of you have told me Sonny regretted it, but I'd like to see that in writing. I don't feel sorry, Melissa. I don't feel sorry for Hebler. He was at Elvis Week with young chicks hanging on him for pictures, excited to meet him. If he has it as bad as it claims, why would he show his face? Melissa, was it Elvis Week or was it the Memphian Theatre? Because I've been told that he had an event at the Memphian Theatre. So I'm not sure about that. So you got Elizabeth. It was an intentional book, in my opinion. Definitely. Right. Then we got Elaine. The real villain in this is Steve Dumneely and Vernon Presley. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. You're entitled to that. You're entitled to that. I personally think probably the Memphis Mafia guys deserve to be sacked. I think they'd upset a lot of people. I don't know. I wasn't there. And I will not accept Dunleavy to be the scapegoat. It's rubbish. That's just my opinion, guys. Wasn't Elvis going to rehire Red West and the guys until the book came out? I don't know. Patricia, it's possible. The Elvis that I've got to know would have rehired them, would have calmed down and rehired them, because he did it again and again and again. Vernon wasn't educated to be in charge of money. Elvis had an accountant to help him understand. I actually think Vernon was the best person for the money. And I'll tell you why. I don't think being educated is the answer here, because I wasn't educated. I left school when I was 15. I've had a very, very successful life in business. I did my own accounts and I handled my own money. Me not being educated was irrelevant. The best way to handle money is the way Vernon grew up. Vernon grew up poor. Yeah, that's the simple way of putting it. And I tell you now, when you grow up in a background where you don't have much money, when you do have money, you're very careful with it. I actually think Vernon was the best person to look after the money. The best person. And I think Vernon, behind the scenes, was probably screaming at Elvis to reduce the spending. This is just an opinion, guys. I'm no expert. I'm just a guy at home. Yeah, in my kitchen. Don't forget, they were all given very generous bonuses many times a year. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Rosemary, why would Elvis be responsible for Red and Sonny and Dave's family? They've got paid, so they are responsible for their financial welfare. They wanted the good life paying. That's what they missed. Yeah, Rosemary, I agree. Elvis didn't say to them, I'm going to give you a job for the rest of your life. Didn't do that. It's just ridiculous. Any employer is entitled to, when he doesn't need employees, to not use them. There's nothing wrong with that. The people that worked for me didn't work for me for their whole lives. They worked for me as long as they were needed. Okay, when you let people, you give people notice, you give them like some kind of bonus when they're leaving, but then they move on and get different jobs. All the people that worked for me went on to much better jobs. Didn't make me the bad guy. Right. So we've got Ariane. I feel bad for Elvis. He did all that he could to provide the bodyguards. Yeah, and they betrayed him. Yes, I agree. Elvis was always trying to keep them happy. And I'm late. Right, Melissa, I'm late. I was on the plane with my Elvis bestie, then reading about Joyce Bova. Right, I'm going to bring it. Right, I think we've gone through all the comments now. And I'm just going to go right to the end now and just see if there's any new comments. Billy Smith went back to work for the railroad. He didn't write a cruel book. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. I didn't know that. He may have been sick, but he still had an addiction problem. As much as I love EP, he had an addiction. Diane, I've said it to you loads of times. I won't whitewash Elvis. I know he was addicted to his prescribed medication. I know it. But aren't we all? How many of you now, right now, that are on prescribed medication are addicted to your medication? How many of you? It doesn't make him a drug addict. There's a difference. He's not a street drug addict. He isn't out there injecting heroin and snorting cocaine. There's a massive difference. 100% he was addicted to his medication. 100%. Common sense alone tells you that. So, Diane, I definitely do not whitewash Elvis. I will say it how it was. That man was very ill, and the prescribed medication was making him more ill, but he had to take it. What are you going to do? Should have Elvis just took nothing? Should have Elvis gone, right, I'm going to take nothing. Yeah, my liver's failing, my colon's twisted, I've got glaucoma, I have high blood pressure, I need steroids for my colon, my heart, there's problems with my heart and my breathing. Should he have just gone, I'm going to take nothing then? I'll keep everyone happy, I'll take nothing. Of course not. Come on. He was going to take his medication because he needed it. This is part of why we defend Elvis, because he's called a drug addict when he needed his medication because he was sick, desperately sick, desperately sick. I respect your opinion, but I don't share it in every, this is Diane, in every aspect. EP had a blind spot when it comes to pills and drugs. There were times when he was healthy and still took the pills. Right. I wasn't there. I wasn't Elvis's mate or his employee or his family member. I agree. Elvis took different tablets for different things, probably his whole life. Yeah? How many of you did that? How many of you, I say this to you as a lot of us are over 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. A lot of us, yeah? We've had medical problems. How many of you took pills? Do I use it against you? Do I say to you that have medical problems? Because Elvis was unwell even when he was a child. Do I say to you, oh, because you took pills, you had a pill problem? That's what, Diana, that's what you've just said. Because Elvis took pills through his life, he had a pill problem. The way I see Elvis is that he had pains, he needed pain medication. He couldn't sleep, he needed sleeping pills. He was a celebrity performing tours and concerts. He needed to be up and awake to do these concerts, to get on the movie sets, to make the movies. So he took tablets to give him energy. He wasn't round the back injecting heroin, snorting cocaine. There's such a difference. Such a difference. So I understand your point, Diana, but I see it differently. Let's have a look. You know me, guys. I am a strong-minded guy, and I'll speak my mind, and I do it with respect. Right. Vernon always had a go at his son about how he was handling his money, and he would be grinning from anyway to get rid of the guys. It saves money. He was a penny pincher, but would happily spend it. Right. Okay. Let me just try and think about that one. Right. If I was Vernon Presley, my son was giving away houses and cars and jewelry and paying for everything for everyone, I'd have a problem with my son. I'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be trying to control my son's spending. I take offense that you're calling him a penny pincher. I don't like that. I think this. The guy came from a very poor background. It sounds to me, Elaine, like you don't like Vernon. I think he had a very, very poor upbringing. He worried about money till the day he died, and he was very, very careful with money. That's what I think. I won't call him a penny pincher. I think that's cruel. And I can show you lots of videos, interviews that say that Elvis was very close to Vernon. Yeah, they had their rows, they had their differences, but Elvis was very close to Vernon. So I completely disagree with that comment. But it's your right. And other people are welcome to step in and put their comments in and agree or disagree with Elaine. It's fine, guys. We're just here to debate things. So, Sandra, your brother's going to come on. That's good. He's very welcome. Is his name Bub? Bub, Sandra's brother. you're welcome to join our little team, Team Elvis, Elvis Defenders. Let's have a look. Jean says Elvis died of a broken heart. I don't know. It's a funny one, Jean, because if you look at Ginger Alden's interviews, she said he was quite upbeat and looking forward to the up and coming tour the next day. That he was looking forward to getting married and having children. We don't know, do we? Vernon did not sack them, Elvis did, and Vernon had to do all the carry out Elvis instructions, but he didn't. Well, I'd want that proved. I actually don't know exactly how they were sacked, by who said it. I don't know who did the talking. We'd need a better breakdown of that. Guys, here on this channel, please, can you comment on that particular comment? So Elaine is saying Vernon did not sack them, Elvis did. Is this true? Remember, I'm no expert. I get things wrong. I'm not an Elvis researcher. I am just a fan at home. Please, I don't put myself on a pedestal. I am just a guy who has to learn a lot more. You guys are teaching me new things every day. You guys are educating me about Elvis because I've got a lot to learn, guys. I've got a lot, and I do get things wrong. So Elvis did say to Red on the phone, Elvis said, "You hurt me." Red's answer was, "You hurt me, no apology." Elvis couldn't say a lot of things in public image. Right. Okay, I think we've read. Right, there's a couple more comments here. They thought that they were going to make big money from the book, but it backfired on them because they got ripped off from the publishers. Karma is I don't know how much they made from that book. I'd like to know. If any of you guys can tell me exactly what money they were paid, how much they did end up getting, because I don't know. I'd love to know. Right, so Elaine, he was bothered at first. Calm down. Do you honestly think he would have spoken to Red again after again? But he did speak to him again. That speaks volumes to me. It does. It tells me that Elvis is too nice. Elvis is too nice. I mean that in a good way. Let me just quickly catch up on these last few comments, and then we're going to have to go, guys. Let's have a look. A cured patient is a lost customer. There is so much truth in that. I do understand what you mean by that, Diane. I don't think there was any curing Elvis. He was too unwell. Chronically sick. It's always on how the wording, they don't say the meds, they say the pills. Yes, they use the word drugs constantly. So does the media and the tabloids and the magazines and the documentaries and the biographies. They want him to be painted as a drug addict, as a paedophile. And there's a binge eating on cheeseburgers. This is how someone who died on the toilet and sick of it, which is why we are called Defending Elvis Presley Fans Want the Truth, because that's not what he was. He was none of those things. He just thought of a Rolling Stones, so many bands and singers, actors who took way more drugs than Elvis. Yeah, and they were taking street drugs. Elvis was severely ill. Thank you, Rosemary. Philomena, so sad to hear. Do you have? Oh, look, is Philomena on? Philomena, are you on? Are you? I haven't seen any of your comments. I'm sending you lots of love, Philomena. Lots of love to you. I haven't read any of your comments. I hope you're feeling better. How is the diet going? Let's have a look. I'm not getting any of Philomena's comments. That's strange. Anyway, guys, I think we've said enough. Tracy, I believe that Elvis and Vernon discussed his financial situation at the time. They probably agreed to the cutbacks and he was going to be let go. Elvis left it to Vernon to avoid confrontation. Thanks, Tracy. My partner's is not a fan, but says Elvis was a distant guy. Right, I think we're going to bring things to a close, but I thought we could play a bit more music. What do you reckon, guys? I think we should go out with a song. I know that YouTube are going to copyright me. Do any of you guys, I want to pick a slow song, a ballad. Do any of you guys want to pick it? Come on, guys, let's do this. Something that is soothing and relaxing that's going to make us feel good. Bye, everyone. Anyone? Others, I'm going to pick one. Right, let's have a look. The Wonder of You. Beautiful. I'm happy with that. The Wonder of You. Right. Oh, I like Can't Help Falling in Love as well. No, I think we'll do Wonder of You because last night you were asking for it. Are we ready, guys? Are we ready? Then maybe tomorrow we can do I Can't Help Falling in Love, yeah? Are we ready? Let's see if we can find one with a video. Here we go. I love it. Thanks, guys. Good luck. All of you have a great day. I'll be back in a few hours. Now, don't forget, we can carry on chatting on the 24/7 chat on Facebook Messenger. So just jump on that and we can carry on chatting. Please subscribe. Please become a member. And I'm sending all of you love. Thank you very much, Linda.